Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, the connection between ancient wisdom and the products you might see on the shelf. We're diving into what traditional knowledge and geographical indications are, and how they work together to protect our shared heritage.
So, let me just start with a question for you. What on earth could ancient medicine from India possibly have in common with a fancy world-famous tea? It sounds like a riddle, but the answer is actually pretty profound.
And the answer is, they both tell a story about heritage, a story that's tied to a specific group of people, a specific place on the map, and the kind of wisdom that gets passed down from one generation to the next.
Okay, so let's tackle the first piece of this puzzle, traditional knowledge. Now, a great way to think about this is to imagine it as the software of a culture. It's all that intangible wisdom that really guides a community.
So what's the official definition? Well, traditional knowledge, or TK for short, is all the knowledge, all the practices, skills, and innovations that a community develops, sustains, and then passes down over and over again. It's like a living library of a people.
What's really cool about TK is that it doesn't fit our modern ideas of ownership. See, it's not owned by just one person. It belongs to the entire community. And it's usually passed down through stories, or just by doing it, not from a textbook. And it's definitely not stuck in the past. It's a living, breathing thing that's always adapting. To make this a little more real, let's look at some examples you might know. The ancient Indian systems of Ayurveda and Siddha are perfect. We're talking about thousands of years of really sophisticated knowledge about health and wellness, all held by the community.
And the same goes for things like yoga and meditation. I mean, their roots are in these ancient traditions, but now their value is recognized all over the world. It just goes to show you the global impact this kind of knowledge can have.
And you know, TK isn't just about wellness. Think about these beautiful, intricate art forms like Worli and Madhubani paintings. They are these incredible expressions of a community's unique history and their way of telling stories, all passed down from artist to artist.
So let's switch gears a little bit. If traditional knowledge is the intangible software, then what's the hardware? Well, that brings us to geographical indications, the actual, tangible products that come from a very specific place.
Okay, so a geographical indication, or GI, is basically a legal sign or a label that's put on products that come from one particular place. And the key thing here is that these products have qualities or a reputation that are a direct result of being from that place.
Right, so the most important thing to get is that a GI's uniqueness comes from its home, the soil, the climate, maybe the special skills of the people there. And it's not owned by a single company. It's a collective right for all the producers in that area. And it's protected by law, so no one can just come along and make a knockoff.
You've absolutely seen GIs before, even if you didn't know the term. Darjeeling tea is a classic. It can only be called Darjeeling if it's grown in a very specific part of the Himalayas. That unique flavor? It comes directly from that very specific environment.
And this idea applies to crafts, too. The world-famous Banarosi saris are completely tied to the weavers and the artistic traditions of the city of Varanasi. That makes them a protected cultural product.
Or what about Kashmiri saffron? Because of the unique climate and soil in Kashmir, it has this quality and aroma that you just can't find anywhere else in the world. That is the power of a GI.
All right, so we have the intangible knowledge and we have the tangible product. Now for the aha moment. This is where it all comes together. This is where knowledge meets place, and we see that powerful link between traditional knowledge and geographical indications. Let's put them side by side. You've got TK, which is the intangible how, the skills and the methods. And then you have the GI, which protects the tangible product from a specific where. TK is owned by the community, while the GI is a right for all the producers in that region. See the connection? So here it is, the key takeaway. A geographical indication is very often the physical, sellable expression of a community's traditional knowledge. That ancient wisdom literally becomes a valued product. Let me give you a perfect, concrete example. You take the unique traditional dyeing and weaving techniques, that's the TK, and those techniques are what create the beautiful and legally protected Pochampally ikat sari. The knowledge is literally woven right into the fabric of the product.
So, why does any of this legal stuff matter? I mean, who cares? Well, it's about so much more than a label. It's about protecting heritage and, just as important, protecting the livelihoods of the people who are the keepers of all this knowledge.
The biggest threat here is something called biopiracy. That's a fancy word for when outsiders take traditional knowledge, maybe try to patent it, and use it without getting permission or paying the community it came from. We've actually seen this happen with attempts to patent the medicinal properties of turmeric and neem, knowledge that's been around in India for centuries.
So, to fight this, India came up with a really brilliant defense, the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. It's this massive online database that documents all this traditional knowledge, making it available to patent offices around the world, so they know it's not a new invention. Pretty smart, right?
So when you boil it all down, what you get is this amazing dual benefit. Protecting TK and GIs does two things at once. It preserves a community's cultural identity and their heritage, and it also creates real economic opportunities for them, protecting them from exploitation. It makes sure the value goes back to where it came from.
And all of this leaves us with a final, really important question to think about. As our world gets more and more connected, how do we celebrate all these amazing global cultures without accidentally erasing, or worse, exploiting, their deep local roots? It's a tough question, and something for all of us to consider.